Today, we are digging into the AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner exam, often shortened to CCP, and why it has become such a common starting point for cloud and security careers. This is not about turning you into a senior cloud architect overnight. It is about giving you a clear foundation so you can understand how AWS works, how cloud changes risk, and how to show employers that you are serious about learning this space.
If this certification is on your study list, a free and complete audio course is available in the Bare Metal Cyber Academy at baremetalcyber.com, complete with a study guide and a second ebook featuring 1,000 flashcard questions.
Cloud is no longer a niche skill. It sits under the apps on your phone, the services your company buys, and the security incidents that make the news. When a hiring manager sees AWS or cloud on a job description, they want proof that you can speak that language at a basic but real level. The CCP exam is Amazon Web Services' answer to that need. It validates that you understand key cloud ideas, the major AWS building blocks, and how shared responsibility and pricing work in everyday situations.
The first thing to understand is where CCP sits in the bigger certification ladder. It is a foundational exam, below the associate and professional level certifications. It does not assume that you can design complex architectures or write infrastructure code. Instead, it assumes that you have basic technical comfort and want to learn how AWS organizes compute, storage, networking, identity, and billing. You can think of it as learning the map and the vocabulary before you tackle harder terrain. That design makes CCP especially friendly to a few groups: early career IT staff who support cloud-based products but are not yet architects, security newcomers who want to understand where logs, identities, and data actually live in AWS, business analysts, account managers, and project managers who sit in meetings where AWS is discussed and need to follow along, and career changers who have some technical curiosity and want a structured way into cloud without jumping straight into deep design exams.
AWS did not create this exam just to add another logo to your resume. They saw a real problem inside organizations. Lots of people were involved in cloud decisions, but only a handful of engineers understood what the services really did. Finance, risk, product, and security teams were talking past each other. CCP acts as a shared baseline. When a team decides that everyone should reach that level, it becomes easier to have clear conversations about what is being built, what it will cost, and where the risks sit. Security is one of the big reasons this baseline matters. Cloud does not magically remove security work. It shifts who is responsible for what. AWS is responsible for security of the cloud, like the physical data centers and the core infrastructure. Customers are responsible for security in the cloud, which includes their identities, their data, and how they configure services. CCP spends time on that line because, in the real world, confusion here leads directly to misconfigurations and incidents. From an employer's point of view, CCP sends a couple of useful signals. It tells them that you can recognize the major AWS services by name and by purpose. When someone mentions EC2, S3, or IAM, you will not be lost. It suggests that you understand what regions and availability zones are, why high availability matters, and how basic billing and support plans work. It also shows that you can commit to a focused learning goal and follow through to an exam. That matters a lot when you are early in your career. At the same time, good hiring managers know what CCP does not prove. It does not mean you can design a complex multi-tier architecture. It does not mean you can lead a migration from a data center into AWS. It does not certify you as a cloud security engineer. On its own, it is a starting point, not a finish line. Where it shines is when you pair it with something else: a year of help desk or operations work, a home lab project in the free tier, another certification in networking, operating systems, or security. So, what does the exam actually test? On the surface, you will see 4 domains listed: cloud concepts,
security and compliance, technology, and billing and pricing. The questions are all multiple choice, but they are not pure trivia. Most of them are short scenarios. They describe a simple business need, then ask you to pick the right concept or service. Instead of asking you to click through a console, they ask you to recognize which tool belongs in the picture and why. Cloud Concepts questions focus on the basic benefits of cloud and the different deployment models. You should be able to explain in simple terms what elasticity means, what scalability means, and why organizations care about moving from capital expense to operating expense. You are not expected to draw complex diagrams. You are expected to understand why a business might prefer managed services over running everything on its own servers, and how global infrastructure helps with availability and performance. Security and compliance questions wrap that shared responsibility idea into practical examples. They might describe a web application and ask who is responsible for patching the operating system or managing network access. They might ask which AWS service helps you control who can log in and what they can do, or which feature helps encrypt data at rest or in transit. If you keep the phrase "of the cloud" and "in the cloud" in your head, these questions become easier to reason through. Technology questions cover the core AWS building blocks you will see in almost every architecture sketch: compute services for running applications, storage services for files and objects, database services for structured data, and basic networking, including how traffic reaches your workloads and how you keep parts of the environment isolated. The exam is not asking you to tune performance. It is asking whether you can pick the right type of service for a simple need when the choices are laid out. Billing and pricing rounds out the picture by checking that you understand how AWS charges for its services and how customers keep costs under control. You will see questions about on-demand versus reserved capacity, about cost visibility tools, and about support plans. The goal here is not to turn you into a cloud economist. It is to make sure you understand that cloud spending is flexible, that choices have cost trade-offs, and that AWS provides basic tools to monitor and manage that spend. If you decide that CCP fits your goals, the next step is a realistic study plan. For many people, 4 to 6 weeks of steady effort works well. Think in terms of 5 to 7 hours per week, broken into small blocks. For example, 45 minutes after work most days, or an hour in the morning and an hour on the weekend. Consistency beats intensity. Frequent, shorter sessions help the concept stick without burning you out. One simple structure is to spend each week focusing on 1 or 2 domains, and then finish with a review week. Start by reading the official exam guide so you know what AWS expects you to know. Then use videos, articles, and structured learning paths to fill in details. When you study a service like S3 or a concept like availability zones, ask yourself 3 things. What is its purpose? When would someone use it? And what trade-offs does it involve? Hands-on time, even at a very basic level, helps cement all of this. If you can, create a free AWS account and explore the console. Click through the dashboard to see where services live. Look at how regions and availability zones are presented. Open the billing section and see how charges are displayed, even if your account stays at 0. Simple actions, like creating an S3 bucket or viewing IAM roles, make the exam scenarios feel familiar instead of abstract. Practice questions are the final piece. Do not save them all for the last week. Instead, sprinkle small sets of 10 or 15 questions throughout your study plan. Treat each set as a learning tool, not a scorecard. After you complete a block, review every question, including the ones you got right. Ask yourself why the correct answer makes sense for that scenario and why the other options do not. Over time, you will start to see patterns in how AWS frames decisions about responsibility, resilience, and cost. By the time you sit the exam, your goal is not to have every fact memorized. Your goal is to be comfortable reading a short story about a simple problem, then calmly mapping that story to the right AWS concepts. If you can do that, you are already thinking at the level CCP is designed to measure. The certification then becomes more than a badge. It becomes proof that you can think in cloud terms and learn in a structured way.
So, if cloud is on your roadmap for the next year, the AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner can be a strong first step. It will not land you a senior engineer role by itself. It will give you a shared language with architects, security teams, and business leaders, and it will open doors to deeper learning on the platform. Thanks for spending this Monday Certified session with me. Until next time, keep learning, keep building your foundation, and keep moving one step closer to the role you want.
Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit baremetalcyber.com.